The alarm bells rang through the human embassy on Kepler 4 for to be captain. Jake Morrison jumped from his chair and ran to the communication center. Red lights flashed on every screen. Something was very wrong. The main screen came to life. A tall, thin alien appeared. His blue skin looked pale and his large black eyes showed fear. This was High Chancellor Vexstar, the leader of all Altarians. Jake had met him many times before. The alien was always calm and peaceful. But not today. Captain Morrison, Vexstar said. His voice shook. We need your help. We need Earth's help. Please, you must listen to me. Jake sat down and looked at the screen. What's happening, Chancellor? You look scared. Vexstar's hands moved quickly as he spoke. They are coming. The Korthok Empire. They will kill us all. Every man, woman, and child on our world will die. Jake felt cold. He had heard stories about the Korthok. They were monsters. They destroyed planets for fun. How long do we have? 3 weeks. Maybe less. Vexstar's voice got quieter. Their ships are already moving through our space. Sent us a message. They want us to surrender, or they will burn our cities. The captain knew about Altarian society. These people had no weapons, did not fight wars. For thousands of years they had lived in peace. They made beautiful art and studied the stars. They helped other races learn new things. But they could not defend themselves. Tell me about the Korthok force, Jake said. How many ships? Vexstar? Touch to control. New images appeared on the screen. Jake saw massive warships. They looked like giant metal sharks with guns all over them. 200 ships, maybe more. The biggest ship is 5 miles long. It can destroy a city with one shot. Jake stared at the images. The Korthok ships were huge and ugly. They were built only for killing. Have you asked other races for help? Yes, we asked everyone. Vexstar looked down. The Centauri said they cannot help. They are too far away. The Vegan Republic is afraid of the Korthok. They will not fight them. The Crystal people said they are sorry, but they cannot spare any ships. The alien looked back at Jake. You are our last hope. Humans are young, but you understand war. Maybe you can help us. Jake thought about this. Humans had only been in space for 50 years. Most alien races were thousands of years older. But humans were different. They had fought wars for their entire history. Even in space, humans still knew how to fight. What do the Korthok want? Jake asked. Everything. Vexstar's voice was bitter. They want our planet. They want our technology. They want our people as slaves. But mostly, they want to kill us because we are weak. Jake had read reports about Korthok attacks. They always did the same thing. First, they would bomb cities from space. Then they would land soldiers to hunt down survivors. They took young aliens as slaves. They killed everyone else. After that, they would steal everything valuable and leave the planet dead. How do they fight? Jake asked. The fear Vexstar said they make other races so scared that they surrender without fighting. The Korthok have never lost a war. They are too strong and too cruel. Jake looked at the Korthok ships again. They were powerful, but they looked old. Maybe they had not fought anyone who could fight back. Tell me about their weapons. Showed him more images. Energy beams that can melt metal. Missiles that can crack open a mountain. Shields that stop most attacks. And their soldiers are 8 feet tall, with armor like tanks. The captain wrote notes as he listened. The Korthok sounded dangerous, but every enemy had weak points. What about their tactics? How do they attack? Always do the same thing. They surround a planet with their big ships. Then they demand surrender. If the people say no, they start bombing cities. They kill millions to make others afraid. Then they land troops to finish the job. Jake felt angry. The Korthok were bullies, who picked on peaceful people. But bullies often ran away when someone fought back. Have they ever fought humans? No. You are too far from their space. But Captain Morrison, your ships are so small compared to theirs. How can you help us? Jake stood up, Chancellor. I will send your message to Earth right now. I cannot promise what they will do, but I know my people. We do not like bullies. Vexstar's eyes showed a little hope. Thank you, Captain. Even if you can only save some of our children, we will be grateful. Jake turned to his communication. Officer, send a priority message to Admiral Chen at Terra Command. Tell her we have a Code Red situation. Include all the data about the Korthok force and their timeline. As the message went out, Jake looked back at Vexstar. Chancellor, start moving your people away from your biggest cities. Get them spread out. If the Korthok attack, do not fight them directly. Hide and wait for help. You think help will come? Smiled. I know humans. When someone asks us for help against bullies, we usually say yes. And when humans say yes, we do not do things halfway. The transmission ended. Jake sat alone in his office and thought about what he had just seen. Altarians were good people. They taught humans about art and music. They had shared their knowledge freely. They deserved better than to die at the hands of monsters. Jake had fought in the Mars War when he was young. He knew that humans were good at war, even if they were new to space. Human ships might be smaller than Korthok ships, but human crews were tougher than most aliens could imagine. He looked out the window at the peaceful Altarian city below. Tall, graceful buildings reached toward the sky. Gardens filled with strange, beautiful plants covered every surface. Children played in the streets while their parents made art or studied science. In 3 weeks, all of this might be gone. Korthok would turn this beautiful world into a graveyard, unless Earth decided to help. Jake picked up his personal communicator and called his wife on Earth. Hi, Sarah. Yes, I am safe. But something big is happening here. I might not be coming home for a while. He did not tell her about the danger. There was no point in making her worry, but he wanted to hear her voice in case this was the last time. As night fell on the Altarian capital, Jake stood on his balcony and looked at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Korthok fleet was coming. And somewhere else, his message was racing toward Earth. Soon, the galaxy would learn what happened when someone asked humans for help. Admiral Lisa Chen stood in the war room at Terra Command. The message from Captain Morrison had arrived 2 hours ago. Now, the most important people in Earth's military sat around a big table. They had to decide what to do about the Altarians. General Paul Martinez looked at the data on his screen. 200 Korthok ships against a peaceful planet. This is not a fair fight. It never is with the Korthok, said Fleet Commander Susan Blake. They only attack people who cannot fight back. They are cowards who hide behind big guns. Colonel Ryan Ward studied the enemy ship designs. These vessels are old but powerful. They have been using the same tactics for 50 years. Surround, threaten, then destroy. Admiral Chen listened to her officers talk. She had read every report about the Korthok Empire. They ruled through fear and violence. They had destroyed 6 civilizations in the last 10 years. No one had ever stopped them. What do we know about their military? She asked. Colonel Ward pulled up more files. They have about 500 ships total. Most are older designs. They rely on heavy armor and big energy weapons. Their crews are experienced but not creative. They always use the same battle plans. Weaknesses? Admiral Chen asked. They expect enemies to be afraid. When someone surrenders quickly, they get sloppy. Also, they have never fought against kinetic weapons. Everyone else in this part of space uses energy beams. General Martinez frowned. Our biggest problem is numbers. We can only get 1 fleet to the Altarian system in time. Even our best ships will be outnumbered 10 to 1. The door opened, and Dr. Alan Rogers walked in. He was a scientist who had worked with the Altarians for 5 years. His face was red, and he looked angry. Admiral, I heard about this situation. You have to help them. The Altarians are the most peaceful people in the galaxy. They have never hurt anyone. They share their knowledge with everyone. If we let them die, we are as bad as the Korthok. Admiral Chen looked at the doctor. Dr. Rogers, this is a military decision. You have to think about Earth's safety, too. The Korthok will not stop with the Altarians, Dr. Rogers said. They will keep expanding. Eventually, they will reach human space. You can fight them now, or fight them later when they are stronger. Colonel Ward nodded. The doctor is right. Intelligence says the Korthok plan to conquer this entire sector. If they take the Altarian system, They will control the main trade routes? Admiral Chen walked to the big screen that showed a map of local space. The Korthok Empire was a red blob spreading across dozens of star systems. The Altarian system was right in their path toward human territory. How long would it take to get a fleet there? She asked. Fleet Commander Blake checked her charts. 12 days if we push the engines hard. That gives us maybe a week to prepare for battle. Which fleet can we send? Only the 3rd Expeditionary Fleet is positioned correctly. Admiral Stone's ships are the closest to that sector. Admiral Chen thought about Kevin Stone. He was a hard man who had fought in every major human conflict. His crews were veterans who had seen real combat. If anyone could face the Korthok, it was Stone and his people. What ships does the 3rd Fleet have? Blake read from her list. The Dreadnought U.S. Retribution as flagship, heavy cruisers Vengeance and Justice, 6 destroyers, and 12 smaller vessels. About 40 ships total. General Martinez shook his head. 40 ships against 200, that is suicide. Maybe not, Colonel Ward said. The Korthok have never fought humans. They do not know our tactics or weapons. Surprise might be enough. Admiral Chen made her decision. Contact Admiral Stone. Tell him to prepare for immediate departure. Full combat load on all ships. Ma'am, General Martinez said, the Earth Council needs to approve this. It could be starting a war with a major empire. The war is already starting, Admiral Chen replied. The Korthok will not stop expanding just because we ignore them. It's better to fight them now while we choose the battlefield. Dr. Rogers smiled for the first time. Thank you, Admiral. The Altarians will never forget this. 2 hours later, Admiral Kevin Stone received his orders aboard the UES Retribution. The massive ship floated in Earth's orbit with the rest of the UES 3rd Fleet. Stone read the mission briefing twice before calling his senior officers. Captain Maria Santos commanded the heavy cruiser Vengeance. She had fought beside Stone for 10 years. Admiral, this looks like a one-way trip. The odds are terrible. The odds are always terrible, Stone replied. That is why they pay us to fight instead of someone else. Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell was the fleet's tactical officer. He studied the Korthok ship data. Sir, our kinetic weapons should punch right through their shields. They are designed to stop energy beams, not solid projectiles moving at light speed. Captain Lisa Murphy commanded the destroyer squadron. What about their numbers advantage? They can surround us easily. Admiral Stone looked at his officers. These were good people who had followed him through many battles. They deserved to know the truth. We are not going to fight a normal battle, he said. The Korthok expect their enemies to line up and trade shots like gentlemen. We are going to hit them fast and hard before they know what happened. Stone turned to the tactical display. Their ships are big and slow. Ours are smaller but faster. We will use that speed to get close and target their weak points. What if we lose? Captain Santos asked. Then we make sure they remember the cost of fighting humans, Stone replied. The word will spread that we do not die easily. Maybe that will make them think twice about attacking our allies. The fleet prepared to leave. Crews loaded extra ammunition and checked their weapon systems. Engineers pushed the engines to maximum power. Medical teams prepared for heavy casualties. On Earth, Admiral Chen watched the ships disappear into hyperspace. She had just sent 40 ships against an empire that had never lost a war. It was either the bravest thing she had ever done or the most foolish. Think they have a chance? General Martinez asked. Admiral Chen smiled coldly. The Korthok have never fought humans before. They think we are just another peaceful race that will roll over and die. They are about to learn why that is a very dangerous mistake. In space, the 3rd Fleet raced toward the Altarian system. Admiral Stone stood on his bridge and watched the stars. Soon, the galaxy would see what happened when someone threatened humanity's friends. The Korthok wanted an easy conquest. War Commander Thektar sat on the bridge of his flagship and smiled. The Korthok invasion fleet had arrived at the Altarian system. Message, Thektar told his communications officer. Tell them to surrender now, or watch their cities burn. The alien was 8 feet tall, with thick gray skin and red eyes. Scars covered his face from many battles. He had conquered 12 worlds for the Korthok Empire. This would be number 13. On the planet below, the Altarians received the message. Chancellor Vextar stood in his emergency bunker and spoke. To his people on every communication channel, "Citizens of Altaria, the Korthok demand our surrender, but we have called for help. Our human friends are coming. You must be brave a little longer." Vector laughed when he heard this message. Humans. Those young primitives? How many ships did they send? 10. 20. His sensor officer checked the long-range scanners. "Nothing yet, Commander. Maybe the humans were too scared to come." Of course they were. No one is stupid enough to fight the Korthak Empire. Begin orbital bombardment of their largest city. 1 million Altarians to show them we are serious. The massive Korthok ships turned their weapons toward the planet. Energy cannons began charging for the first strike. In minutes, the capital city would be a smoking crater. Then the sensors started screaming. "Commander, ships dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system." Vectar looked at his screens. 40 small ships had appeared. They were much smaller than Korthok vessels, but they looked dangerous. Weapon ports covered every surface. 40 ships against 200? Vectar was confused. Are the humans insane? Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution and studied the enemy fleet. The Korthok ships were huge and intimidating, but they moved slowly. They had positioned themselves for orbital bombardment, not space combat. "All ships, this is Admiral Stone. The enemy outnumbers us 5 to 1. That means this will be a fair fight." His crew laughed at the joke. They were scared but ready. "Captain Santos, take your squadron and hit their right flank. Captain Murphy, your destroyers will target their command ships. Everyone else, follow my lead into their center." The human ships accelerated toward the Korthok fleet. They were much faster than the alien vessels and quickly closed the distance. The Qatar opened a communication channel to the human flagship. "I am War Commander Vectar of the Korthok Empire. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Surrender now, and I will kill you quickly." Admiral Stone appeared on the screen. His face was hard and his eyes were cold. Scars marked his cheek from old battles. "I am Admiral Stone of the Earth Fleet. You have one chance to leave this system. If you refuse, we will destroy every one of your ships." Dekta stared at the human. Most aliens begged for mercy when they saw the Korthok fleet. This one was threatening him instead. "You must be joking. Look at my fleet. We have conquered dozens of worlds." "I am looking at your fleet," Stone replied. "I see big, slow targets that have never fought a real enemy. Today that changes." Stone cut the transmission and turned to his weapons officer. "All ships, open fire." Their first attack, instead of energy beams, they fired solid metal projectiles accelerated to incredible speeds. The kinetic rounds punched through Korthok shields like they were made of paper. 3. Korthok ships exploded in the first volley. Their shields had been designed to stop energy weapons, not solid metal, moving at near light speed. "Impossible," Vector shouted. "Return fire. Destroy those insects." The Korthok ships turned their massive energy cannons toward the humans. Green beams lanced out across space, but the human ships were already moving. They used their speed. To dodge most of the shots, Captain Maria Santos led her heavy cruiser Vengeance into the enemy's right flank. Her squadron moved like a pack of wolves, hitting fast and hard before moving to new positions. "Target their weapon systems," she told her crew. "Blind them before they can hurt us." The Vengeance fired a spread of kinetic rounds into a Korthok battleship. The projectiles tore through the alien vessel's armor and destroyed half its guns. The enemy ship spun helplessly as atmosphere vented from dozens of holes. Captain Lisa Murphy's destroyers swarmed around the Korthok command ships, like angry hornets. They were too small and fast for the big alien guns to target effectively. "Focus fire on their flagship," Murphy ordered. "Cut off the head, and the body will die." Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell coordinated the human attack from the Retribution's tactical center. He watched the battle unfold on his screens and sent orders to every ship. "All units, they are trying to surround us. Break into 3 groups and hit them from different angles. Do not let them use their numbers advantage. The human fleet split up and attacked from multiple directions. The Korthok had expected a simple battle line where both sides traded shots until one side died. Instead, they faced an enemy that moved. In 3 dimensions and attacked weak points, Admiral Stone brought the retribution. Into close combat with Vector's flagship, the 2 massive ships exchanged devastating volleys while smaller vessels battled around them. "Sir, their flagship is heavily armored," reported the weapons officer. "Our rounds are not penetrating their main hull." "Then we get closer," Stone replied. "Bring us alongside their ship. We will board them if we have to." The retribution moved in until it was almost touching the Korthok flagship. At this range, human weapons could punch through any armor. The alien ship's hull cracked and split under the constant bombardment. The Tar felt his ship shaking apart. Around him, half his crew was dead, and most of his weapons were destroyed. How had this happened? The humans were supposed to be weak. "Commander, we are losing. 30 of our ships are destroyed, and more are crippled." Akar looked at his tactical display. The human fleet was still fighting at full strength, while his forces were being cut apart. These humans fought like demons, never stopping, never retreating. All ships, focus fire on their flagship, kill their leader. Every working Korthok gun turned toward the retribution. The human dreadnought disappeared in a storm of energy beams and explosions. For a moment, it looked like the alien counterattack might work. Then the smoke cleared. The retribution was still there, scarred and burning, but still fighting. Its armor had held against everything the Korthok could throw at it. Admiral Stone's voice echoed across all frequencies. "Is that your best shot? Now it is our turn." Human fleet closed in for the kill. They had shown the galaxy what happened when someone threatened their friends. War Commander Vector watched his fleet die around him. 50 Korthok ships were now burning wrecks floating in space.
Oh.
The humans had lost only 3 vessels. This was supposed to be an easy conquest, not a massacre. "Commander, we must retreat." His second officer shouted over the noise of explosions. "We cannot win this battle." Vector's red eyes burned with rage and shame. The Korthok Empire had never lost a war. He would not be the first commander to run away from a fight. It's better to die than face such disgrace. "No retreat," he roared. "Ram their flagship. We will take their leader with us." The massive Korthok command ship turned toward Admiral Stone's retribution. Its engines pushed it forward at maximum speed. If Vector could not win, he would at least kill the human admiral. Admiral Stone saw the enemy ship coming straight at him. The alien vessel was 3 times bigger than his dreadnought. A collision would destroy both ships and everyone aboard. "Them, sir, recommend evasive action," his navigation officer said. Stone looked at his tactical display. The Korthok flagship was heading for the planet. If it missed the retribution, it would crash into an Altarian city. Millions of innocent people would die. "Negative. Hold our course. We will not let them hurt the civilians." Captain Maria Santos heard Stone's decision over the radio. Her heavy cruiser Vengeance was nearby, but too far away to help. "Admiral, get out of there. We can stop them." "No time," Stone replied calmly. "Take command of the fleet, Captain. Finish this fight." The 2 flagships rushed toward each other like ancient knights on a collision course. Neither captain would turn away. In the final seconds, both crews braced for impact. The ships crashed together in a massive explosion that lit up space like a new star. Metal twisted and broke. Atmosphere vented into the void. Both vessels spun away from each other. Badly damaged but still in one piece, Lieutenant Commander Tony Mitchell crawled through the wreckage of the Retribution's bridge. Smoke filled the air, and emergency lights flashed red. He found Admiral Stone trapped under a fallen beam. "Sir, are you alive?" Stone coughed and opened his eyes. Blood ran down his face, but he was conscious. "Status report. Both ships are crippled. Most of our crew is alive. The Korthok flagship is venting atmosphere but still moving." Stone tried to stand but fell back down. His left leg was broken. "Help me up. We need to finish this." "Mitchell, and 2 other officers pulled the admiral free and helped him to his feet. Stone limped to what was left of his command chair and opened communications to the fleet. All ships, this is Admiral Stone. I am still alive and still in command. Continue the attack. Show no mercy to any ship that threatens this world. Crossed the battlefield, Captain Santos heard Stone's voice and smiled. The old man was too tough to die. She turned to her weapons officer. You heard the Admiral? Destroy every Korthok ship that will not surrender. The human fleet pressed their attack with renewed fury. They had seen their leader nearly die to protect innocent aliens. Now they fought with the rage of soldiers defending their family. Captain? Lisa Murphy's destroyers swarmed around the remaining Korthok ships like sharks around wounded whales. Her crews targeted engines and weapons, leaving the alien vessels helpless but alive. This is Captain Murphy to all Korthok ships. Your commander is defeated, your fleet is broken. Surrender now, or we will destroy you all. Most of the surviving Korthok ships began shutting down their weapons and engines. Their crews had seen enough death. Some captains refused to give up. They kept fighting, even though the battle was lost. Lieutenant Commander Mitchell coordinated the final assault from the damaged Retribution. He directed human ships to surround the last few enemy vessels. In minutes, it was over. The space around Alteria was full of debris and burning ships. Of the 200 Korthok vessels that had arrived, only 40 were still intact. Most of those had surrendered. The rest were either destroyed or too damaged to fight. War Commander Thektar was still alive aboard his wrecked flagship. His bridge was destroyed, and half his crew was dead. He sat in the ruins of his command chair and stared at the tactical display. The humans had won a complete victory. Captain Santos opened a communication channel to the Korthok commander.
This
is Captain Santos of the Earth Fleet. You are beaten. Order your ships to surrender. Thektar looked at the human woman on his screen. She was young, but her eyes were hard like a veteran warrior. You have won this battle, human. But the Korthok Empire will send more fleets. We will have our revenge. Let them come, Santos replied. But first, you will carry a message back. To your empire, tell them what happened here. Tell them that humanity protects its friends. The surviving Korthok ships began leaving the system. Their crews were broken and afraid. They had come expecting an easy victory and found only death. In defeat, as the enemy fleet retreated, Admiral Stone was taken to the medical bay. His injuries were serious but not fatal. He would live to fight another day. Chancellor Vexstar called from the planet's surface. His voice shook with emotion. Admiral Stone, how can we ever thank you? You risked everything to save us. Stone smiled. Despite his pain, you asked for help, Chancellor? Humans do not do anything halfway. News of the battle spread quickly through the galaxy. Other alien races could hardly believe it. Small human fleet had destroyed a major Korthok invasion. Force. The empire that had seemed invincible was suddenly vulnerable. On the Korthok homeworld, the High Command received reports from the survivors. The military leaders were shocked and angry. They had never imagined that humans could fight so well. Send orders to all fleets, the Supreme Commander said. Avoid human space. We will find easier targets. Back in the Altarian system, human ships helped rescue survivors from the battle. Medical teams worked around the clock to save wounded sailors from both sides. Even defeated enemies deserved medical care. Captain Jake Morrison arrived from the planet to visit Admiral Stone in the hospital ship. Sir, the Altarians want to build a monument to honor our dead. They also want to sign a formal alliance with Earth. Stone nodded weakly. Good. We will need allies for what comes next. The galaxy just learned that humans are not to be ignored. What happens now? Morrison asked. Now we go home and prepare, Stone replied. Other races will want our protection. Some will want to test our strength. Either way, this is just the beginning. Word of the human victory reached Earth within. Day's Admiral Chen smiled when she read the battle reports. 40 ships had faced 201. It was the kind of impossible victory that would become legend. The Altarians kept their promise. They built a huge monument listing the names of every human who had died defending their world. They also shared their most advanced technology. With Earth as thanks for their salvation, other peaceful races began asking for human protection. Within a year, Earth found itself leading a coalition of 20 different species. The galaxy had a new protector, and that protector had sharp teeth. The Korthok Empire never recovered from their defeat. Other aggressive races saw their weakness and began attacking Korthok colonies. The empire that had ruled through fear learned what it felt like to be afraid. In the end, the message was clear. They had wanted help, and humans had sent a death fleet. The galaxy would never be the same.